Imagine the scene. You're about to book flights for your favourite holiday destination and then you're told you can't go. Why can't you go? Because your carbon footprint for the year so far exceeds a certain limit.
Well, the holiday company Intrepid Travel has suggested that could become a reality and we could be forced to use so-called carbon passports to make us greener tourists.
Good idea or bad idea? Do you support the idea because it protects the planet, or are you against it because it might restrict your freedom of movement?
Well, joining us to discuss this is the senior meteorologist Jim Dale, who says it could be an option. And author of Energise a Future for Energy Innovation, James Woodhouse, have I said that right? James?
No, but it doesn't matter.
Says the idea is anti-democratic. Good morning to you both. I can't bear to get it wrong, so please correct me, James. Woodhausen. I can do it. I can manage that. Let's start with you, James, then. You were outraged at this suggestion. On what basis?
I'm never outraged, Isabel. But,
come on.
Carbon footprints, there's about 10 million calculators out there on Google, because nobody can agree what a carbon footprint really is. So that's the first problem. Who's going to do the monitoring and on what basis? You know, we've got enough state control with ULEZ, with all kinds of restrictions on movement already. And thirdly, it's so much focused on the past. It's about what you did, not about what you're going to do, not about the fun that you could have, or the business travel that you will need, or helping out an ailing relative in New York. What are we supposed to do? Row to New York when there's an emergency? It just won't do. It's repressive, it's draconian, and it's not going to fly, because we were debating carbon ration cards back in 2006. I've got the clips of me in a rival channel discussing rationing of travel then. But nobody
Jim,
will wear it.
You think it could be a possibility, it could be a reasonable idea? No, I'm talking to Jim.
Yeah, I think we've got to go back to basics, Eamon. Good morning to you. The reason this is happening is because the world is heating up at an extraordinary rate. We've just got the September figures in for the globe. The average, this is day and night, 16.38 degrees C, which is 1 degree, virtually 1 degree above the all-time average, and 0.5 degrees C above the previous. That's about like Usain Bolt coming out of retirement and beating the 100 meters by a second, if you get my point in the drift. So that's the reason why this is on the agenda. Now, I'm not saying this is the best solution. Intrepid Travel, actually in their spiel, are suggesting that we'll actually be flying less to these to destinations that are so hot that we can't even, we don't want to be there. 40 degrees sitting there for a week, you ain't going to enjoy it very much. So it's going to be much more short-term flights, if you like, or even boats or whatever, going to places that are much nearer and temperate and what have you. So this idea is one idea that's being floated. I'm not necessarily saying that this is the best idea. You know why? Because the culprits for where we are at this moment in time, roll it back all the way to the fossil fuel companies. That's where the problem lies. And if you're going to tax anybody, start there.
A thought from you, James?
Well, it's nice to feint and attack the Shells and the BPs, but the fact is that this proposal by Intrepid Travel, or is it Insipid Travel, and a report by the Future Laboratory, it just is so demeaning to expect normal people to abandon their holidays and sun themselves in the Netherlands rather than in the Mediterranean. I'm from the Netherlands, and people like sun in this country. They're not wrong either.
But Jim, it doesn't take into account the business model of people who commute around this country, who use London as the capital, but live in Scotland or Wales or Ireland, and they are constant travellers. And there's a whole economy based on people flying in and out of London, which would require a complete rethink.
Well, that's quite right. That's one of the things that's completely neglected in the HS2 debate, which is the jobs that are going to be lost by cancelling that travel link. And, we rely on thousands of jobs at Heathrow and elsewhere. Yeah. What do the proponents of this ridiculous idea have to say about the redundancies that would follow from it?
OK, we have to leave it there. Jim Dale, James Woodhausen, thank you both very much indeed.